I arrived for an event in Lebanon, I think it was like 7 in the morning, and at 10 o'clock, the war started.
Never thought fitness industry is going to get you to see a war.
You're charging like, I don't know, 15, 20 euros for an hour.
You know, in the UK, 85% of trainers leave the industry within the first year.
It was like 760 trainers within a year. How many of these 760 did at least one extra session? 11 of them. You will not have a clue.
People confuse standards with standardization.
Because knowledge costs. He was 280 kilo. 21 years later, I speak once a month with him.
Thanks for doing this, Gabriel. Really
You're
appreciate
welcome. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Not at all,
You're
not
welcome.
at all. It's always nice to meet people from the industry, and especially when they've done things that you've not done in the past. So I think one of the things that you're doing really well is the academy that you're running at the moment. But let me start with, how did you get into the fitness industry? What was it your calling, or you got into it by accident?
I play sports all my life.
Nice.
Actually, I started when I was 3, playing ice hockey. Mm-hmm. And then I switched to swimming. And I played swimming. I mean, I was a swimmer till I was like 21. Mm-hmm. And then sports university, so everything was tied. And then was a funny thing, because exactly on the day of graduation, my teacher from the university said that I have a position of a swimming instructor in a fitness center. And I knew actually from during the university that it was not something for me to become a coach or to become a PE teacher. So when that opportunity arose, I just jumped in that position as a swimming instructor in a fitness club.
And when was this?
In 99.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're a veteran in the industry now.
Actually, I think in Romania I'm kind of one of the oldest in fitness. And then I got the chance to get to World Class in 2000. And that was the first connection from me with the group fitness. And then it just developed from there.
So tell me your journey from, so you went from education into getting your first job, and you started into, as a lifeguard or
It actually was as a swimming instructor, teaching kids how to swim. Yeah.
Right. So from swimming instructor to being the chief operating officer of World Class and the CEO of MoveOn. Tell us your journey.
Yeah, so the funny thing was that, when I started with World Class, I was really impressed about the way the company was just as an entrepreneurial company. I met Wolf Bengtsson in the first day when we had the interview, and for me it seemed, this is a guy that has a vision. It was all about vision. And then when we opened the first club in Romania, it was very high level at that time. There were maybe one other fitness center in Romania at that time. So when this came on the market, it became you got the elite of Romania coming, Bucharest coming to that. We were 80% expats members. It was mostly expats at that moment, embassies, big telecom companies that were launching at that time.
Is this the one in the Marriott?
In the Marriott Hotel.
That's where we had the first conference of Romania Act. I remember. Yeah.
And I like the vibe, I like the vibe because having expatriates, the soul of the fitness center and the way people behaved in the fitness center was because they already had the culture.
Right.
So even from day-to-day operations, everything was so smooth because clients treated the place like their own home. Right. So I just got so engaged in that part. After that, I had the chance to get out of Romania, and I worked for like a year as a coordinator for a swimming product program into an international school in the Middle East, in Abu Dhabi.
Oh, wow. I was in Abu Dhabi. I used to have 2 gyms in Abu Dhabi. Wow. Small world.
So that was in 2000. And then from there, another guy that I knew as a manager that came in World Class invited me to come to Doha in Qatar. Nice. So I've been working in Doha till 2004 as a club manager. We opened a new club there for one of the local sheikhs. And then I got a call back from Wolf in 2004 and said, I'm opening the second club in Romania. That's in Radisson. Is it interesting for you to come back? And I said, yeah, why not? So I came back as a club manager
Nice.
This time in Radisson. And then I think that was like in September in March 2004 we opened. And then in June he came in the office and said, I have this great deal. I want you to move to Lebanon.
Wow.
So, I remember I went to my mom and I said, 14th of June, I have to be in Lebanon. Are you crazy? It's Lebanon. So I just, Wolf said, don't worry. If you get there, somebody's going to wait for you at the airport. And I'm 3:00 in the morning, a driver in Lebanon in the airport, took me to the hotel. We signed the deal with a local hotel chains called Le Royal. And Beirut was the first one that we were supposed to implement world-class brand on it. And then if that was successful, we were taking over Tangier in Morocco and Amman in Jordan. So that was for me, worked for 8 months in Lebanon, and then I moved to Tangier for 6 months, and then in Jordan for 1 year. And then I got, actually in 2006, got caught in Lebanon. I arrived for an event in Lebanon I think it was like 7 in the morning, and then at 10 o'clock, the war started in 2010.
Fuck.
So I think it was like 7 days until we were able to get out.
Wow.
Then I moved back to Bucharest.
Never thought fitness industry is going to get you to see a war.
Yeah, I didn't feel any threatened or something, but actually I felt more unsafe being in Lebanon before the war started. Because every time you were walking around the streets, something could happen.
Correct.
There were so many these kind of bombs that were putting. So when things started, at least you knew what you had to do. Then I came back to Bucharest. Wolf brought me back, and I changed to the position as a startup manager. And that was the moment that I started traveling and opening clubs for world class in Romania from like 2006 to 2010.
So that's a very interesting role, right? I mean, not too many organizations have a role like that. So what did it entail? Just traveling and opening new centers. What does it mean?
Like I said, so being so entrepreneurial, world class at that time didn't have a structure. It was pretty much a country manager in each country that we had, and then it was the Wolf as the owner.
Yeah.
And then you just had to deal with it. Yeah. We had a centralized office in Stockholm as a, mostly focusing on the marketing part, but visuals, design, but nothing on the country level. So for me, startup manager meant starting from the moment you get a blueprint and then get the contract with the company. And then I moved in that city, spent 3 months with the constructors building the club as per the blueprint. And during that time, doing recruitment, trainings of the people, and then 6 months of day-to-day operations until I can train one club manager and then move on. So fully training on all the positions in the club, requiring from reception to, instructors, PT, implementing all the products. And then once I felt that that's it, they all can do what is expecting from world class, then I moved to another one. So that was as a beginning, as a startup manager. And then once it stabilized a little bit our openings, I moved as a product manager. And I was actually responsible of implementing a PT concept and a PT structure in world class. And that was very fun for me.
So when you say you go to a new location,
yes,
did you have hiring support? How did you, okay. So let's say world class decided to open a gym in XYZ location.
Yes.
Right. And now you've been told that we shortlisted a location XYZ and you need to go and sort things out. So at what stage would you travel?
I will travel the first time we sign the contract, and we get, before we sign the contract, we get the space layout.
Yeah.
And at that moment, I get in contact with the architect, and then together we set up the flows into the club.
Wow.
And at the moment I have that one, and we feel that this gonna work and it fits our concept, then we move to the signing of the contract with the landlord, and then I move in.
And how many such clubs did you open?
I think I opened like 12. Yeah.
You got a gold mine of information, knowledge how to set up.
For me, it was fun because those were the moments. At a certain moment after teaching classes is still a passion that stood with me.
Yeah.
And, when I get in the first 3 months, especially when we're opening clubs outside Bucharest, like I opened Timișoara in Cluj for the first time, you don't have people at that time in 2007, 2008 that pretty much World Class was the only one teaching international standard aerobic.
Nice.
And we had our own choreographed concepts. So I was teaching 17, 18 classes per week. The one that, I knew how to do it, and I felt that they are not ready to deliver the World Class level. And I never allowed them to step in as independent instructor in front until I felt the client, if he moves to Bucharest in this, will get what he gets in Bucharest. And once we got the second club, then it's easy, you rotate the trainers. But one location, the first location in a city is the most challenging one.
Excellent. So let's, while I had promised myself I'm not going to ask you too much about, world class and the gyms, but, my passion for learning about, this journey that people have had while building brands is just, the thirst is such that I have to ask you this question. So let's say now I'm a single independent gym operator, and I want to now expand into my own city or another city. Give me a blueprint of how do you go about it? How do you make sure that you can replicate what you've done? So say I have a gym in Bucharest. It's a great independent, it's doing very well. We're clocking numbers. We've got the best trainers. Members are super happy. I built a community, and now I'm thinking I want to go to Timișoara, and I want to open a second club, and I want to replicate the success. Give me the blueprint for that.
So for me, I'm a very procedural freak. SOP for me, it's a mantra. You need to have your manual. And I always look into the database of the members and the location. So what made that club successful in Bucharest? The moment we decided to go, for example, to Timișoara, we already tested how it will be a club when you open it into a shopping mall. And it was completely different than to have a club into a 5-star hotel. So starting from that point, I made sure that from the blueprint, from the layout of the gym, it had to capture that kind of clientele, that it was around that location.
You made a very good point. What made the club successful in that location? I feel a lot of independents, and I've spoken to a lot of them, don't know what has made it successful. It's an accident sometimes.
Of course, it's an accident.
And it becomes difficult to replicate an accident.
Correct, but you're always going to have trial and errors. It's a concept of business. So for us, it always has been a thing in World Class. And again, the entrepreneurial spirit behind was, test, implement as fast as possible. If it doesn't work, take it out as fast as possible. Working in that direction, we knew from that. And again, on the other hand, we were very analytic when it came to the clients that we had, and our database became something that we are digging in all the time. Who was going to the group fitness? What were the times that were working? Was it any corporate around it? The timings of the classes. So all this was very detailed and analyzed. Like I said, I'm very practical. I don't have that kind of very open spirit to creativity, but I like math. So, sometime 1 + 1, it will always give 2 in that kind of concept. So I always looked into how can I look at total number of members versus, for example, check-ins. And is it related, the check-ins versus the revenue in PT? Is it related to the attendance of the group fitness? Is that affecting my revenue in PT? So all these kind of things, I go very deep in all analyzing and over all the clubs. I still do today for 50 clubs. So having that was easy to understand. Okay, if we have a group fitness schedule that can fit in that description, we know that our product, when it comes to PT, had to complement that. And that made things so successful. And one other thing that I always looked at it was the ratio between membership revenue and secondary revenue. So I always made sure that, you're always going to have seasonality. You will have a day, a month that people will not buy membership.
Correct.
You still need to pay your bills in that month.
Correct.
So I always started from the mathematics, going and understanding exactly why the clients are staying, what makes them have this continuity. And again, I actually discovered that at that time, now it's not, I don't say it's that important in this moment, but at that time, 2008, 2010, the layout of the club, the flow into the club was something very important, giving enough space and a proper space for group fitness, especially in Romania when people were having studios that was like 2.5 meters high and then just like 80 square meters, tiles on the floor. We came in with like proper sports flooring,
Correct.
6-7 meters high, proper ventilation. And that was the key of success.
Got it. So I'm going to now ask you to take off that hat of world class now,
for sure.
and let's move on to MoveOn.
Yeah.
And this is very close to my heart, education. And one of the roles that I play at the moment currently is I chair the Skills and Workforce Committee at World Active. I personally think that, trainers are the building blocks of our industry, but I don't think we're doing enough to upskill them or to skill them or even to educate them where they fit in the entire grand scheme of things. Most trainers don't understand, that gyms spend a lot of money towards building the facilities which they're using to train people.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's such a situation where I feel bad for the trainers, but at the same time, I feel bad for the service providers and the gyms. So you have you have to have a balancing act, right? As as a CEO of MoveOn, and you are the largest academy in Romania.
Yeah.
You're also the only people who are working very closely with the government to set the standards.
Yeah.
I know you're working closely with EREPs also.
Yes.
So tell us how did MoveOn come into existence? Why did you take on this role? But it's a fairly challenging role considering that you actually don't have too much regulation around standards in Romania.
Yeah, that's true. I think education, like I said, for me, I believe in, like you said, the foundation is very important.
Right.
If the trainers are the foundation of this industry, and I believe because they are the actually end user, they are touching the end users every day. A receptionist, it can be replaced.
Yeah.
Even with the technology now, I still believe that a trainer you will never be able to replace on the one-to-one experience.
No chance. Yeah.
That no technology will get to that level to get to the empathy that it requires to have as a trainer. But I think it starts in the same way for the education. Foundation is important, and at a certain moment you cannot skip. You cannot jump 3-4 layers just because I go to the easiest solution. Because working with humans, it requires very depth analyzing.
Correct.
And MoveOn, that for me, when we launched MoveOn, was to be able to put to the trainers the knowledge, because Romania at that time we didn't have the knowledge. Either you go to the sports university or you can do this coach course that's done by the federation, but was very basic. It was bodybuilding.
Correct.
Fitness is not bodybuilding.
Not at all. And that's one of the reasons we are guilty of that as an industry. We've been seen too often as bodybuilding and not fitness and wellness. I remember this conversation. I was at the World Health Organization, and we were having this conversation, and the team there said, "You are to be blamed as an industry because you positioned yourself wrong, nobody else."
Yeah.
If you keep talking bodybuilding,
Correct.
people will hear bodybuilding.
Exactly. I think that's what's happening all the time. And it's the same for the trainers. The way you position your team, the way you want to show something, that's what you're going to get back. So that's why MoveOn came on. I believed, because I always took the right steps. I said, okay, at this moment, what the government is offering and what's on the market, it's not sufficient to provide enough tools to a trainer to create a business.
Correct.
Trainers, it was the moment when we launched it in 2012, was the moment that all this behavior of taking out floor trainers from employed to self-employed. And again, you need to give him the tools. If you want him to succeed, and you're part of that success as a gym owner or as a gym operator, he needs to succeed. And MoveOn came in as a tool for people to make sure we're going to give you the knowledge. We're going to show you how. Then we can have the options to have some, to pretend something back. But there was not too many know-how. For me, going out of Romania at a certain early age, working abroad, that was actually for me the first, as a side note, after 1 year working abroad, I was asked, okay, so for the next contract, what do you want to do? And at that time, there was a course, a PT course in Dubai done by ACE.
Oh, yeah, ACE. Yeah,
you need to pay that for me. I don't want to raise in my salary, but you need to pay that. Because I knew if I go back to Romania, I don't have that chance to do such a course. And that opened my mind also because, in ACE, actually, there were so much tools about how you sell, how you do your marketing, which here, at that time, we don't talk about the personal training being responsible for sales.
Yeah.
Personal trainers was mostly executants, at the front desk, we sell you, you just do the sessions. But, being a PT and a self-employed, you need to know how to run your business and not only rely on the club to offer you clients. And that's where MoveOn came in, to offer a 360 overview tool to them, not only teach them how to do a squat or teach them how to choose back exercises, is, from your behavior, from sales, from marketing, from ethics. I think ethics is so important for a personal trainer because you create such a connection with the client. It became so personal.
Correct.
And then it's so easy to step out of line.
Yeah.
And then that's what we added and brought in with MoveOn at that time. And being able to bring, with MoveOn, the first thing we did when we launched in Romania, we used most of our master trainers that we brought in were from outside, from Sweden, from Italy, France, bringing this kind of knowledge into Romania. That was actually the start of MoveOn. And it was very inspiring for people that they get to hear, especially in group fitness, we brought a lot of the top presenters at that time from, that you can find in Rimini. Suddenly you find them in Bucharest keeping a workshop for the market. And we also took the kind of role of, educating. So it was not only about commercial, was about offering knowledge to people through the different seminars. And that was very appreciated. But I agree with you 100% that, we don't do too much for the trainers in this moment. I think the part of also us as an education provider, always looking into not only the trends, into the client's behavior, what's changed, what are people looking for, what is the knowledge we need to give to a level 3 versus to a level 4, how we differentiate that. Because I think it's very important at an early stage. We want more people to absorb into this. We want to make it easy to enter, but in such a way offer sufficient information that when they sit in front of the client, we can say, he's a coach. He's somebody that I can trust and listen to that information that he has to give me. And I always make this analogy, and when I speak to trainers, come on guys, you're charging 15, 20 euros for an hour. And then I go to a private, medical center and it charges me 60, 70 euro for 15 minutes of a normal Q&A. Why? It's just because of the status of a a doctor versus our status. And why?
Because we're not investing
in
enough.
We are prevention.
You're right.
If you do what we're telling you don't get to pay 80 euro.
No,
that's
right.
how it is.
Yeah, you're right. So and this is where I think that sometimes trainers are just fucking idiots because they don't understand. If you don't invest in yours, if you don't take your profession seriously, guess what? Nobody else would.
Yeah.
If you're thinking that just by doing one PT course and not upskilling yourself constantly, like they say doctors, like my sister's a doctor, my first cousin, and she's like, I've been studying for 20 years straight because I need to keep upskilling myself.
Of course.
And trainers would come back, in the UK, 85% of trainers leave the industry within the first year. And the reason they leave the industry in the first year is because they don't understand the importance of marketing, the importance of empathy, the tools that you're required to do this. They would just think the gym as a vehicle where they can get people, and they assume that they go to a gym and they'll get people. And there aren't enough people like MoveOn who are doing what you're doing in terms of training trainers to understand the importance of other aspects. You don't lose clients because you don't understand anatomy. You lose clients because you don't empathize with them. You don't understand their needs.
But how do we stay relevant with all this technology that comes on the market? I mean, all the gym equipment right now, you have a QR code.
Correct.
It shows you how to do the exercises. If I have to sit next to a client to show him how to sit on a leg press, then I'm irrelevant.
Yeah, it is. Exactly that.
That's the point of, educating yourself is not how to show an exercise, is how to get to the point to understand what that client needs.
Yeah.
And what will be the best options for him. Because options we all have. And he can have an option on the phone. He can have it on his wearable right now. Monitoring sleep. I believe that our clients and the industry clients right now are becoming more and more elevated when it comes to knowledge due to this, wearables and high-level technology. Our trainers are not ready for this.
Yeah,
you read one on your sleep behavior on your, watch. If you go into a trainer and say, look what my watch is saying, he will not have a clue.
He won't have a fucking idea. And I'll tell you, I remember the discussion with, so I have two of my friends who run one of the largest PT companies in the UK. It's called Your PT. So James, Laurie and Aaron. And they have reached a point where they say, we want people to get educated. We'll do it fucking free for you. Right? So they've started a conference called Level Up. They invite people, they invite speakers, they pay for it. And they say, you come and attend and at least start understanding. Yeah. And they'll get legends to speak there. But the problem is what we spoke about earlier when we were sitting, trainers don't understand the importance of this. And I feel bad for them because one is the skill of to be a good trainer. One is to understand where in the entire ecosystem do trainers fit in, what is their responsibility. And, so when I speak with trainers, and I used to have 800 trainers back in the day, when I speak to trainers, I tell them, do you understand when a member comes to the gym, I have paid for marketing for him to come to the gym. I have paid for this infrastructure. I've signed a 20-year lease. I have put a personal guarantee on my house to get this lease and to get this equipment. And you want to come here to this gym, not pay anything to the gym, not want to pay any rent to the gym, not understand that unless the gym succeeds, you won't succeed. And similarly, because I understand that very well that if you don't succeed, I won't. So I want to do as much for trainers as possible. It's a two-way street. It's like people saying, if you had an option, and that's what it is. If you had an option, would you pay tax? Nobody will fucking pay tax. If you had the option not to pay tax.
Yeah.
So when people come into the gym, I know trainers would go to a place without paying rent. They'll wear a normal t-shirt. They'll take money straight in pocket. It's not right, because what you're doing is you're depriving the industry. Yeah. That money is going to go back. And I think what you pointed out, I've never thought of it like that. What you said, made so much sense. You said, man, even if you're taking 50% of the amount, you're charging a X amount, which puts your value in the ecosystem way higher. So look at it that way.
That's how I always tell them the same thing. Why shall we be different than a doctor? If he charges €8, being able to work also in Sweden for a period of time, I told them, guys, in Sweden, it was €30 as a 1 month membership. But that's just pretty much to give access to people inside.
Correct.
But it was €85 1 hour of PT.
Yeah.
Because knowledge costs.
Correct.
So I never discount product when it comes, because it's not worth. If you put so much money in, and time into education, it should pay off. And you should be so, up there about what you are worth. And we are the one deciding how much we worth.
Exactly.
Nobody can decide. If I can believe in myself that I'm worth 250 and I stand behind my words, what I'm going to provide you there, it will value 250. Then that's what we are.
I absolutely understand that.
So that's what I always position them as trainers, and I have this discussion. Do you think you're part of the system, of our ecosystem? We should be part. Then it comes with the responsibility. Correct. You cannot just be a trainer just to take the cash at the end of the month.
Correct.
Being a trainer comes with the responsibility. You are the actually one that influence the most the client.
Because you're client facing.
Exactly. So whatever you transmit out there, that's how it will create this universe that we are in the fitness industry. And we have a challenge because it's very scattered when it comes to the education standards, or even in Europe, all over the Europe. Every country has whatever they want.
It is all over the place.
So that's something we that's the difference. I remember during pandemic, I was in this conference that we had with the World Health Organization.
Yeah.
And it was UK Active actually was fighting a lot to put the fitness sector more as a preventive and together with a medical center. And it became a very, kind of blockage because as guys, but you're lacking the trust. Medical university is the same pretty much everywhere. Everybody has the same material, same knowledge.
Correct.
But in fitness, we are so scattered when it comes to the standards that we don't have the trust. And that's what we should fight for. How do we get the trust?
You're right. You've got E-reps, you've got IC reps, you've got SimSpa, you've got ACE, you've got ACSM, and then there are others.
So everybody is different. How can we have the same common
but
language?
the same human.
It is. Exactly. And we don't even, you go to a gym, and that's the first thing I'm looking to a trainer. When he's training a client, I never evaluate trainers like sitting and, doing a test. I want to look at the trainer as the instructor when you do a class, because I'm going to look at the client. The client is also your mirror.
Correct.
The way he's executing is the way you taught him how to do it.
Correct.
And in the same time, I'm looking at the terminology. And I always tell people, when you get to a doctor and the doctor starts using that very medical terminology, and then it puts a receipt in front of you and say, you're going to get and buy this.
Yeah.
Everybody's running to the pharmacy.
Correct.
Because that terminology might be something serious.
Correct.
We still, you look at trainers and say, lift. That's not a lift. That's a, flexion. That's an extension. We have abduction, adduction. We have inner rotation, outer rotation. We don't have, raise your arm. So that's, for me, it's also our level. And how can we get that into their heads?
Yeah.
Each industry has their own vocabulary and terminology for a reason. Shows that you are smart.
Correct.
If you can learn a basic terminology in your industry and use it, why? And I know you may have very successful trainers that it's not about that. But at the end of the day, when you call yourself a personal trainer, you call yourself a fitness instructor, whatever you want to call yourself, you're part of this industry. And we're transmitting all this, a message to the clients. We should stick with what's important for us because that will guarantee value. And then first of all, I always said, trying to sell something, it's not about trust. Everybody's talking, the client will start buying when you get his trust. I meet you the first time in my life, you as a client, and we sit down for maybe we have a chance to sit for 30 minutes. Are you going to trust me in 30 minutes? I never believe that he will trust me.
Yeah.
What I can get is his respect.
Correct.
And that respect I will get to terminology, to my attention to him, and the fact that it's all about him, it's not about me. That's what I'm going to get.
And you mentioned something very interesting, Gabriel, about ethics, right? And especially in an environment where trainers are self-employed, how do you get them to take on the ethics, the code of ethics that you've got? What's the process?
It's very difficult. I think this is something that we, very openly, I don't think we get through with a proper ethics. They don't understand that role can impact so much his client.
Correct.
And there is a very thin line when that can be breached. And, I still feel listening to trainers training clients, it's about what happened in the weekend. And I went out and I had that. And, instead of being keeping the client spends time, I always believe that the most precious things that our clients give to us, it's not actually the money for the membership. It's their time, 1 hour and a half.
100%.
That's something that I cannot give him back.
Yeah,
So
100%.
Why shall I not focus on him? And I think that's the starting of the ethics. It has to be about the client. If you want to be friends outside, that's friends outside. But within the environment, focus on what you have to do. And you need to provide what you promise. Because that receipt that the client got when he pays his money, it comes for me as a contract. PT, it never been for me the journey. The journey can be very painful, and we know that. That's something that not necessarily sells. PT, for me, it was something that is the image of the client in the mirror. He will come to you and say, I want to look like Brad Pitt. That's what he's paying. He's not going to pay for 200 push-ups and 1,000, burpees. He's going to pay for that image.
Correct.
And you need to deliver that image.
And that's the reason, if you see, a lot of online trainers are also doing extremely well, because what they're doing is they're getting paid for helping the client achieve the dream he's got. They may not be in the real world,
exactly,
but they're very good at what they do. So what's your view on how do you compare online fitness to fitness inside of the gym?
Once with the pandemic, I think it became obviously that this will be part of our industry.
Yeah,
that will never go away.
Correct.
I think as a concept, it's something that will benefit the club industry, because time is the first reason people will not join a gym.
Yeah,
that's the first excuse you'll get. I don't have time for it.
Correct.
The second thing I believe is also that we've been building for so long this image of a gym is a place where people are lifting heavy weights, and it's all about hardcore trainings that will scare people off.
100%.
And that environment that online creates, in your living room, you're so comfortable. I strongly believe that once you get the taste of it, you will like more.
I have so many friends of mine, Gabriel, who I get so pissed off with, but I can't do anything about it, because you're right. They are so comfortable in their living room. Says, dude, I don't want to go to the fucking gym. 2 reasons. I have to drive, I have to park, and I have to be in the gym with people lifting 50, 60, 70 kgs. And I get intimidated by it. I'm happier in my own, and I'm getting results. And guess what? They are fucking getting results.
Yeah, of course they're getting results, because you don't get that pressure.
Yeah.
Look at, you go to the gym, My first thing I'm asking the trainers in the education, I'm saying, why do you think a client is buying a membership? Why do you think, if we're focusing on the client that comes to gym, why do you think he buys a membership and he wants to come in the gym? And for me, there is only one, let's say, helicopter view answer. He needs help.
Correct.
And that help can come in different stages. It can come with the help that he needs somebody to tell him what he has to do because he doesn't know. But it can come as a help of the environment. He's a guy that wants to be a bodybuilder. You will not find weights in the park. So that's a help also that us as a club we're offering. We're offering the environment proper for you to achieve your goals. The same reason, when you're overweight, you want to start training, what's the possibility, or where is the environment with more probability to find another person with the same goals as you? The gym.
The gym, yeah.
So that's us as humans. We want to be next to somebody that can empathize with us in the same way.
And that's the reason group training works the best.
Exactly. Because, there's all the people there, we push each other, we have the same goals, we have the same reasons. And that's what clients are coming there. So if it's about helping them, that's what we are here for. Our industry is for that. If the means is to go through the online, to get him started, otherwise he'll just sit and watch Netflix, he will start moving, he will start feel better. Maybe it will take 1 year. But when he will feel comfortable, he may end up in a gym. So that is the same way when you first take your driving license. You may buy a shitty car, but if you start liking speed, you will upgrade that car. You will not stay forever there. So I think the more you get people exposed to training, to exercise environment, no matter where it is, even in the parks, there is at least a 50% chance at a certain moment he will be in the gym. But if he just sits in the sofa without the exercising, you have zero chance to have him as a member.
Absolutely.
And why should we, as the club operator industry, take all the cost for starting and motivating people? Because that's a lot. And as the fitness clubs industry, it's very expensive to get on their TV where they are sitting or in their house.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
because you're competing with everybody.
Exactly.
You're competing with a fucking McDonald's.
Exactly.
It's the same space.
So prime time is very expensive. So if they found a way to be in their living room on their own cost and stimulate people and penetrate people which otherwise will not come in the gym, I think that's a great add-on to our industry. And we should actually, use more of that in our advantage. Come out there with more education about people just have to start exercising. We have a rule in in our clubs. If you go out of the club and you didn't buy a membership, we will recommend another club to you.
Wow.
Because I want you to start training. That's my goal. Okay, it may not be the moment right now for you. Maybe it's too challenging. There is a reason you're not keen into buying right now. But don't worry, at least go around in the park. Maybe somebody more in the proximity that can offer you a different level. Go there. Just start. That's what I think we should be responsible as an entire industry. Even if it's a cleaner that is in our club, he should still say hi and say, hey, great job to somebody, motivate him. And trainers are the start.
No, I really like, the way Romania Active is working. And, I've attended 2 conferences, and I always tell this to my friends back home in the UK. I tell them that, you can learn, while Romania is very underpenetrated in terms of fitness, but there's so much you can learn from here. So when I came in for the first time to Romania, this was about 2 years back, and, I attended a conference at the Marriott. And, to see so many business leaders together and to see all of them, talk about the best practices, share about the best practices, and being open about the challenges they face. And then, Ken taking that position of saying, okay, let's try and get the entire Central Europe together. And then this year, it was even better. When I attended this, at Temasara, I saw people had flown in from different parts of, Central Eastern Europe, and you had people from Hungary, you had people from Norway and Greece. And I realized that, there's so much that can be done just by sharing best practices with people and talking about, and I think one of the things that everybody said is, we're not competition for each other. We are in the business of getting more people to start moving and start staying fit. And I know everybody means it. I had, just before you had Alexandro as the guest, and we said the same thing. We just let's get more people in. Let's get more people to be fit.
That's what it's all about. We are in the moment of an emerging industry for Romania. When it comes to fitness, 6-8% that we are right now is nothing. Even if we double the number of clubs that exist in this moment, there is still huge market. Okay, you may, you have these North European countries, you have 25-30%.
Yeah.
Okay, you have in UK what, 40?
17%, 17-18%.
Okay, so it will come at a moment to get to that kind of, stagnating, but we are so far away from it. And still 6-8% is calculating on the big cities. We don't even look at the,
the small, if you add the smaller cities, I think the last report is about 4%.
4.2.
Yeah.
So
fucking low.
It's very, very low. It's place for everybody. And it's the same thing for trainers. There's so many clients out there. The opportunities are huge on every direction.
And just to add to that, I think you require more gyms also for the reason, and again, we spoke about this in the past, is because the number of, the attendance per membership is the number of days members use it is very higher.
Yes.
It's about 7-8. There are clubs which are doing 10. That's unheard of in the UK. Unheard of. So when people come here with a business model in Romania thinking that, we'll have these many members in a club, they have it basis of 3 or 4, the usage being 3 or 4, and we're talking 7 or 8. So it's not 3 members per square meter, it's probably 1 member per square meter.
Correct.
So which also means you need more number of gyms, which means the opportunity is even larger.
Yeah, because we still keep the same kind of behavior. People come very early in the morning or peak time in the evenings.
Correct.
So it's as many people as you can fit at a certain moment in a club. And that's how you want to develop. But it's true. And coming back to education, it will be the key in the future also. I think people will understand. It takes longer time. But if we all speak the same language, and I always, when I attend also your Romania Active, I always say the same thing. Most of the time in Romania Active, I'm wearing the MoveOn hat. And, I told them, you're operators, you're owners of the clubs.
Yeah.
You need to stand behind your standards. I don't, in a way, I don't care if you don't like hearing from me, but, I've been in this industry for so long, and I've been doing also as a trainer and in different levels. Trainers are your key. And if you let them cannibalize, your business, and you don't propose standards of what personal training is, what you expect from that professional, because he's a profession. Starting from last year in Romania, we have a qualification standard. So we're not talking only about specialized people. We're talking about qualified people. So that's right now, starting from last year, it became in Romania, finally, a fitness instructor became a profession.
Wow.
So when you call yourself a professional, I think you really need to know what you're talking about. And again, there's a lot of people out there that are very, very high educated.
Correct.
And if they can do it, I think it should be a standard that people should learn how you need to add layers. Everything comes new. You know, if we go back 20 years ago, even in sports and in fitness when it came, if you ask somebody to say about HIIT 20 years ago, they said, are you crazy? I cannot lose weight during HIIT. I need to run, I need to be in that 60%, 60 to 70% heart rate. I need to stay for 45 minutes at least. There's so many things right now that are outdated, and it's such a very fast, growing industry.
Yeah.
And what I feel it's more right now than it was before is that it connects way too fast and on a different levels with the performance sports. We absorb a lot of the things that are, worked in the sports and the professional athletes into this industry.
There's so much of knowledge already existing. You need to just use it. Yeah.
You need to learn it. You need to be updated with what you're saying. Market grows, clients are growing, clients become more educational. ChatGPT, you have internet, I can get programs, but it's not about that.
Exactly. I was coming to that. So it's no longer the value of the program, because I can train ChatGPT to be my personal trainer. It doesn't solve the purpose. You made a very good point initially where you said you can get as much technology as possible. You can never replace the trainer. But the trainer needs to understand, for him to be relevant, he has to get better and better and better and better. Because if his knowledge base is not good, people are not going to listen to him.
Again, I always feel, I think it's a big difference between, the GF and the PT.
Correct.
And from operator point of view, and all these standards that always exist in GF, people knew what's a step class.
Yeah.
When this pre-choreographed Les Mills, all these concepts that came in, clients absorb it very fast. So if you miss as an instructor a bit into a body pump class, the clients will look at you and say, hey, what are you doing? Yeah. So we always got complaints from members or feedback from members regarding the group fitness classes. You never get feedback and complaints in the PT.
Yeah.
It's because of the connection one-to-one. Correct. Whatever they create between a trainer and a client, that stays there. That's the level of connection that gets created. They will never expose the trainers.
Yeah.
So that's your empowerment. That's what you have as a trainer, and you need to value that.
Yeah.
Because that's what you created. And for me, that's always the fact that I had a client when I was working in Qatar. He was 280 kilo.
Whoa.
We worked for almost 2 years and a half. He dedicated everything to that. Like I always said, it's that question, why? Why do you want to do it? I think the strength of why is the key of your success, of your client's success.
Correct.
So if you can find that why, if you can dig that deep to understand why he's in your club face to face with you asking for help, then he will succeed. Even now, I left Doha in 2004 and we are in 2025. That's 21 years later. I speak once a month with him.
Wow.
If he goes in holiday in a places that never been, he will call me and give me his chef, the chef of the restaurant, on the phone. He got that habit, that kind of connection we created.
Nice.
You'll not get that through the phone. You'll not get that through the application.
No chance.
I started with a client that my first test with him, he was 3.5 minutes on treadmill and he could not breathe anymore. He was on so many medications. The guy runs marathons. Wow. We don't train together anymore. He's still a client for us and I meet him every day. But every time he has a chance to meet face to face, he always going to say, I'm doing this and you're the reason why.
Yeah, so you've done the most difficult thing, setting his mindset. That's
what it is. That's what it is. Exercises can be options. If we've been in this industry forever, honestly, Laura, do you need a gym to train? I can train in the woods, And it's something that you ask the trainers also. When I ask them, okay, which one do you think is the most loyal client? Is the one that comes 6 times per week, or is the one that comes 1 time per week? For me, is that comes regularly 1 time per week, because it means he really makes a hard effort that 1 time is there. The other ones is a lifestyle. He will train. If you take all his dumbbells, he will take a bar. If he takes the bars, he will continue to train because it's part of his life. Correct. I will not stop training if the gym closes next to me.
Absolutely.
I will travel. But that client, no. So when you get to that focusing on clients, why PT has to happen, like we always trainers you hear, you need to come 3 times per week. You need to come 4 times per week. No, if he comes once per week and you get it, every week, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, you will have the results. And that's a loyal client. So mindset and reaching to the right, goals of the client and putting the right questions to find out why he was not here a year ago. What made him today in front of you and what his expectations from you. I think that's where you will realize if you are that type of trainer, if you got that kind of knowledge, then you will start feeling responsible.
And do you teach all this in MoveOn? Do you help people understand
we spend a lot of time in this, and we created also specific workshops just for these kind of things. Because when you first get them to certify them into the fitness instructor, you kind of have a very set curricula that you're obliged to teach. But we always want to add things that the soft values. It's the same thing. It's about the soft values. It's about until you get into the gym, how you make him get to the gym. And then, of course, it's about staying in the gym. And I don't think for a trainer, if they start spreading a little bit the understanding, your connection with your client and your responsibility to the client, it's not only that hour that you're in front of him for an hour. Give him a call on Friday. See how he felt after a week of training. Take that admin. Once a week, you need to allocate your 2-3 hours of admin going through your trainer to your clients on the phone.
You mentioned something very interesting about yourself, that you're very process and procedure oriented.
Yes.
How do you teach this to young 20, 21-year-olds who just passed the industry? And like you again mentioned, Friday, take that admin to make that call. It doesn't take too long. It just has to be a habit. How do you build this for people now?
I think like 2 years ago, I was really struggling. I did an analyze between like 3 educational schools in Romania. And I looked, okay, let's see within this year, how many students we graduated, how many people we pushed into the industry. It was like 760 trainers within a year, 3 schools graduated. And then I took the next 2 years. And I said, I want to see within the next 2 years, how many of these 760 did at least 1 extra session of education, no matter what kind of things. 11 of them. So at that moment, I realized that paper that we gave them, it just made them, legal, and they could make money.
And that's all they were interested in.
So then I was thinking, again, it's like, I always tell, selling, it's within us. We sell. We have these actions of selling things in our life. If we want to go to holiday, I need to sell that to my wife. Correct. If I want something from my kid, I need to sell that to his. So for me to convince people why you should have these standards, after this analysis, I realized I need to show him the cash. And I start having the possibility to look into a database of like 400 and something trainers. And I start analyzing how many of them are putting their availability in the system. And I created segments. And then I tied that behavior that each segment did to how much income they had every month. Then we created kind of like a simple Excel sheet that said, if you want to make €1,000, you need this course.
Correct.
And you can do whatever you want. If you want to make between 1,000 and 3,000, every Friday you need to make yourself available for at least an hour. So I copied the behavior of people within range of amounts. And then that triggered their expectation. That triggered the fact, okay, I'm going to start doing this because I can make 3,000. So we had to adapt. We had to adapt to find what stimulates them right now instead of what stimulated me when I wanted. For me, being in operations for 25 years right now, SOP makes me sit at home if I want. Because if I have the standards and they are really educated, they are always overviewed, they are always there to create these guidelines, it makes my life easier. It makes easier to grow, because if everybody works in the same thing, you'll analyze and you'll identify the problem. But if everybody does it differently, you don't know which works and which didn't work.
Yeah.
So that's the pattern. But to make these young people do things like this, which they don't feel value in this moment, is show them the outcome and show them like mentorship program. I use a lot the most successful trainers that we have. We use them in our course just as a storyteller.
Correct.
So it's the same. A company, I think the whole beauty of a company is the company stories.
Correct.
Listening to people, how they went through different challenges. That makes you love that company or not.
People only relate to stories. Yeah,
feelings, 70% of our decisions are based on feelings, not on practice.
Absolutely.
So that's what triggers them. It helps a lot when they see from somebody that is successful to understand, okay, we have those non-debatable or non-negotiable. Guys, I'm sorry, I don't like to do it either, but if I don't, this is what happens. So that's something that we realize works. For how long, we don't know. But in this moment, it really works. Show them the right people that are actually doing it and listening, hearing from them.
So, very, very interesting thing that you mentioned about, teaching trainers how to do all this together. How does your role model trainer look like? What's your role model trainer? This is what he should be. That's what he should do. And that you believe is going to make him a role model, successful trainer.
I think, like I said from the beginning, it has to be a person that can get respect. Okay. And I think we always see, from the point of view of the client, your presence is so important. The etiquette that you have, the way your posture, whatever we want to say, you have the first impression. And the first impression comes with the first thing that you lay eye on it.
Correct.
And that's the key for me. So my trainer will always look like a coach for me.
Yeah.
So it's funny because we're also looking right now, maybe it's time in our industry that we change the terminology also on the way we call our professionals.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to say coaches stays into the performance, into the real sports. You're just a trainer. But you're coaching.
You are.
So coach is a part of it's not only training, you're coaching. It's not that I'm not showing you and educate you how to do your exercise. I'm coaching you how to become better. I'm coaching you how to evolve yourself as a client.
Correct.
I'm not expecting that you're going to be my client for the whole lifestyle, your whole life. I'm actually expecting that working with me at a certain moment, you got the knowledge that you can change your life by yourself. So that's the trainer that I'm seeing. I'm seeing a person that you're always going to see very presentable from the first impact, and it's self-aware of that.
Does he need to have six-pack abs?
No. But I believe that I have these things, and I've been keeping this into the work class. I personally don't like the trainers in shorts. I don't feel that you get that etiquette. It's like I'm going to a doctor and he's in shorts. So I'm expecting the trainer that works with people and we're getting more and more people with really medical issues.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
So that person that is not there to build six-pack, is not there, is there maybe to fix his back pain, to fix his chronic pains. So we need to adapt to that position. So visual for me it has to be looking very, professional from that point of view. And you need to be passionate for this. If you became a personal trainer to make money, I don't think you chose the right. You can make money, but you're never going to be just being a personal training. You'll never become extremely rich.
Wealthy.
You have limits, because there is a certain amount of people and a certain amount of time that you can fit in a day.
Correct.
So it has to come with passion and the passion of the person in front of you. You need to love to make him reach his goal.
So was it passion that got you to start MoveOn?
Yes. It was the passion, because I believe that we have such a great industry and we have so much knowledge and so much to offer that it really, it kicked in the fact that no, we need to put ourselves at a different level. And I'm striving every day, like I said, working with the government, working with different forums, being part of Europe Active right now when it comes to the certification, is just because I still believe that us in this industry, we have something that is still seen better than you see in the medical. You still go to the gyms and the energy is in the gym, the vibe in the gym. You go into a hospital, you don't get that. You see people running around to fix things. We are here and we can offer so much more.
So your role at MoveOn is like an entrepreneur, like it's an entrepreneur role.
Yes.
So it's your own baby in a way.
I always felt that.
Yeah.
I felt, because like I said, it's nice sometimes not to have a big financial pressure and to keep this just as an added value and in the same time impose some high standards. So for us, putting MoveOn there, we always are, let's say, acknowledged as, even into the clients that are looking to search, where can I get certified? They know they get the best certification, but there is a risk you may not get it. So I will always raise that standard. I believe we should have a higher standard for our industry, for letting people in such a way that, it doesn't have to be, choose your level. I think the fitness instructor, let's say, position kind of slowly disappears. Everybody in our industry is a personal trainer right now. We're missing the floor trainer. And that's how I got in. I got in as a floor trainer. I was putting weights back. I was just correcting people in the exercise. I was not doing that individual thing. And I think that's right now missing in the industry. Because when you put that, he starts building experience. He starts building the connections with the clients without feeling the responsibility of changing something in the client. And slowly, they become more independent and they become more trustful of, okay, I can do this. Now I'm ready. I think everybody gets in and is a personal training from day one. And that creates a bit of a challenge for us.
Yeah, I think people confuse standards with standardization. Standardization of stupid standards is not good, is it?
Correct.
So you need to raise the standards, and then comes the problem of standardization.
Correct.
I think it's the tail wagging the dog. What we're doing is we're doing standardization, but we're not working on the standards.
Correct.
And that's the more important part that we need to solve. So tell me, what's the role, MoveOn is playing in improving the standards of personal training?
So like I said, we had the chance to be the ones writing now last year, the group fitness instructor standards for Romania.
Nice.
And we just made sure that it gives the right value on these times, on 2025, not on 2000. And I still believe that group fitness is about energy, is about motivation.
Correct.
So we're working more towards that thing, how to create that engagement, give them that kind of tool, not only how do you build a block, of choreography. It's not about choreography anymore. It's about how do you use exercise in a group of people on music to, build that energy and make it that is comfortable for everybody. So that's something that we added. And this year we are almost ready right now because we noticed what happened in the market and the way it was standardized. as either you're a fitness instructor or you're a group fitness instructor. But in here, once you got this, you teach everything. But, I'm not teaching anything about yoga here.
Correct.
How can you be a yoga instructor? On Romanian level, it doesn't exist, a yoga instructor. So, of course, in our environment, when we had to work class, that was the first standard. You want to teach yoga? First of all, you want to work in the industry? These two are required by law. So you need to have them. But if you want to teach yoga, go take a yoga certificate. You want to teach cycling? Become cycling instructor. It's so different. And I think it's the same. You become a general doctor, but you're not a surgeon.
Correct.
So why our industry is not built the same? And that's something I'm really passionate about, that we make this specialization. And now we looked that the market created this. Then people went, some of them said, but why should I go this direction? I take a 200-hour yoga and I will teach yoga. Or I'm going and take a reformers, pick whatever other brands, and I'm not doing anything more. And also that kind of schools, being international, they're not responsible for the standards in each country. They provide you the diploma. It should be your responsibility to make yourself legally first in the country. But it doesn't happen. So then we said, okay, then it's our role to work with the government and say, okay, why he should do, 1,000 hours becoming a GFI if the guy wants to just do yoga, which is so specialized, or so only Pilates. So now we are coming up this year, hopefully September is ready. We created a new occupational standard, which is a Pilates instructor. So if you just want Pilates, you just do that. It's okay. Because then you can only teach Pilates, and that's your passion.
And that's better.
It's better. Focus there, because you know that if that's your passion. And I realized that a lot of people that came into yoga or Pilates, even though they haven't been sports before, it came through the passion, it came to the mentality, came to the vision, or whatever it represents yoga for him at that stage. And they got so deep that they continue to take education in that field more than a personal trainer.
Yeah.
Why? The passion.
Yeah.
They got so into absorb that concept that they want to learn more and more and more and more about it. Unfortunately, PT is so diverse, and you have to be so different angles and different knowledge that you'll not get to, okay, I want to learn them all. So even here, I think when it comes to PT, we have options to become more specialized into a different direction, because then it's your passion to work with that kind of people.
So if I'm a gym operator, right?
Yeah.
And I'm struggling with my trainers, and I have the same problem that all of us have, that, my trainers leave, they're not performing well, they're doing what I don't want them to do. How do I come to you, and how can you help me? So if I'm a gym operator, what should I do? I mean, I'm actually struggling. Imagine I'm struggling with trainers. I have a massive staffing issue. I can't fill in positions. The people who are working with me are absolute idiots. I'm not able to get good trainers. Solve this problem for me.
Good homework. No, we have this kind of product also, that we are actually going inside of a club, and we're offering a full evaluations of either on the level of the manpower and on the level of the product that you're doing.
Across all roles? When you do an evaluation of all the skills, so the front of house, reception, trainers, everything.
Okay. Exactly. Okay. But let's say if most of the collaboration that we do, we get mostly for the group fitness and the PT.
Right.
So when we go there, we're going to do like a full day of random evaluations in the GF, different concepts, and then on the same on the PT. And at the end, you get a full report with what we believe that the level of your people are. In the same time, we are evaluating your product scheme. What are you offering in PT? What you are offering in GF? And then we're looking at what is your customer base. And then we're trying to match these two. Because sometimes what we realize is that we're trying to offer way too advanced products that our trainers are not
ready for,
skilled enough to present that. And I also always said to people, when you start your gym, if your mentality, when you put in a PT product, is not that you can guarantee the money back if the result is not there, don't sell PT.
Correct.
It's not just a service. It's not a must to have on your, just have access into the club. that's it. Because if you're not doing it correct and you do not get to your member base and they're not willing to buy what you're offering, then I don't think we can fix that problem. That's what's happening the most of the time.
So how do your conversations with gym operators go? So example, I'm sure you've done this multiple times. So how do they feel about it when you give them a feedback that you're fucking idiots and your gym is not doing well? Maybe you don't say it in the same
I'm
words.
not saying that it's but what I get a lot, when I'm going to these kind of conferences, I have people saying, look, I have this gym, I had trainers, but there's a competitor came in, my trainers left because they can do it in the different way. What shall I do? I believe that in that moment, you need to, first of all, make sure what was the value that you're getting? How much did you lose? If you had 10 trainers and each one of them had 10 clients, you lost 100 clients, and that's 10% of your, database. When you have a margin of maybe 15%, then it's worrying. So you need to look into something. But you need to start, what I'm telling them, go use more the employed people, use getting PTs through people that can look at it as added value income. Start with your front desk people. Educate them. They are sitting in your club 8 hours. They're doing the morning shift. They can do 2-3 hours. After that, having 2-3 clients, still be in your gym. They are in the front desk. They are the front contact with the members. So it's easy to get the contact right away. And in the same time, we know that front desk, it's an entry level. You like to have extra income.
100%.
And in the same time, that might be a behavior of that receptionist being employed, that he likes the comfort of an employment contract.
Correct.
All the benefits that comes with medical insurance and all these kind of things. He will not lose that.
Correct.
So that was his first.
So it's like a plus for them.
Exactly. Go that direction. And then it will take time, but go with, let's say, not pre-choreographed concept, but create product that depends on you as an operator and not on your trainers. So the most of the time when I see that the clubs are failing and they're losing trainers is because they're only selling clip car sessions. When you sell clip car sessions, what's the value of that sessions? You always create concepts that you have. So when the client buys, he doesn't buy sessions with that trainer. He buys the product.
Correct.
And that product, any of your trainers can execute.
Yeah, but that's also a gym's responsibility to create something like that.
Exactly.
But not too many gyms are willing to take that responsibility.
Maybe you don't have the knowledge.
Yeah.
I understand you don't.
So what should I do?
There's so many others. We can create concepts for you. The same. There's so many concepts that you can buy right now.
Correct.
It's just monthly license. Then you just need to do your, mathematics and see if it's worth putting it in.
Gabriel, do you not face this issue that you're also the COO of World Class? Do you not feel people ask you that there's a conflict of interest where people think, oh, you're also with a competing gym? Do you face that at any point?
We face this. We face because everybody knows that MoveOn is part of World Class. I mean, the ownership. But again, if you offer the right thing, people are coming. People make the difference. People are coming. The ones that wants to learn, they don't care. We still have people, the trainers from StayFit or from other competitors coming to MoveOn is because MoveOn stands behind the trainers. The trainers that we have there, the master trainers, have the respect into the market. We looked for people that have the knowledge. We were very keen. I didn't choose, stars PTs. I chose people that have the right educational and academic background because we want to teach that. And then, of course, we use the stars more as a, mentorship and applied science instead of, my master trainer is the best PT in town. It might not be. The best PT is not always the...
Correct.
How do you judge as the best PT? Is it the one that have the highest length of their clients? Is it the one that sells the most in the month? Which is the best trainer? It's very difficult to say.
So how many master trainers do you have, Gabriel?
In this moment, for all the things that we do, around 40.
Wow. And these are all based in Romania, Bucharest, or across?
No, I think we're working always with between 10 and 12 expats from different countries that we have them. We use them for Pilates. We have different workshops that we're doing in PT for nutrition that we're bringing from outside. We actually did a workshop for personal trainer that it was just pure time management for personal trainers. Teach them how to manage their time to fit more clients.
Yeah, good. So I'll tell you, I know good trainers in. So I know one trainer. She works with a cycling studio called Ride, and she has somebody who does her admin. She says, I want to do it the right way. So I think that's very important where people start understanding. It's when you start taking your own career seriously is when you will start growing.
Correct.
I think most people in our industry just think themselves don't believe that they have a serious profession. They just think, most trainers think that we are a workout buddy for somebody else. Counting reps with them, or like you rightly mentioned
today. You walk into the gyms and we still count reps.
Yeah.
So that's again, if we have to do that, then for sure we will be replaced.
Yeah, 100% will be replaced. So there's this very good, very respected entrepreneur in the fitness industry, Nick Mitchell. He's sold his business, UP Fitness, and he always says, live that rep with each client of yours. Live it. Like, you have to be there. He's not paying you to count reps. There's so much more that goes behind that. Personal trainer comes with very high level of responsibility, because people are putting all their faith in you to be the best version of themselves, the version that they visualize.
Exactly.
And that's why they're paying you that.
Exactly.
I've been there. Right? I've been a client, back in the day, I've been a client before I started my own gym chain. And I used to always feel, is my trainer really thinking about me? Is he?
We're always going to ask that question. At least, okay, like I said, the people have you'll have clients that are just paying because he likes to chat with you and he likes to have you next to you. Your gym buddy.
Correct.
We always had this terminology that a personal training is a gym body.
Exactly.
So they will always exist. But on the other hand, what are you going to do with the other client?
Yeah.
And this is something I always mention. When I'm having a client, the way I behave with you, my success in that moment, that's my business card. Because what I'm going to do with you, there's maybe 30, 40 people in the gym at that moment that may say, I want to have what he has.
Yes.
Or may say, I cannot pay $400 for him to sit next to me and talking with me. I can have my wife at home for free doing that. No, so there's so many things that people don't understand. It's every moment you are on stage. And that's what we need to understand. Us in the fitness industry, we are on stage all the time. The moment we stepped into the club, we are in front of our clients non-stop. We don't get behind the office. A PT gets very little behind an office and with a closed door. When you are in your office, it's a client in front of you. When you're in the gym, there may be 50 people looking at you at that moment. And that's your chance. That's your chance to sell by not doing anything. You just present.
Free advertising.
Free advertising. I always, when I was doing PT, sometime I was taking the client and going. We had this all the time. Our aerobic studios are like all glass, so you can see through. I take the client and put him in that and make something different. Treat him different. Then you get the client say, but why he can go there and I cannot? But that's what you get when you have a PT. Otherwise, that room stays closed. So you always, people who like to have, if it's worth. If he believes, I need that, or I'm in the same moment, it appeals to me. But on the other hand, I was from the beginning, I believe that the success I give to my clients is, the respect I'm going to get, and in the same time, that's my business card. So I was very picky with which clients I want to train. And everybody likes money, but I was never looking for a client to pay the 10 sessions, not being mentally into what we're going to do, drop out and say, I trained with him, I paid him, I didn't get results. So I was always scouting the gym for clients, looking to a client that will sit 4 hours in the gym, talking with everybody, going to all the trainers. I will say, No.
Not mine.
You're not ready to train with me. You're not ready to give the extra effort. You're going to just spend money. So I think also these things our trainers need to learn.
Yeah.
It's not only if he is willing to pay, it doesn't mean he's willing to get his results.
Correct.
You need to get deep into that one.
Gabriel, how much money do you think, say I'm a personal trainer, I'm listening to this podcast. If I did everything right, what do you think is your ideal, role model personal trainer? How much money can I make in a month?
I think based on the experience and knowing trainers that are doing this for years, you can do very easy 5-6K per month.
Wow.
Correct. With everything the way it should be, proper.
Yeah. Dot the I's, cross the T's, do the right thing, follow the ethics. Yes. So it is possible.
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
And how long do you think it's going to take me to do this? If I'm a fresh trainer, I'm listening to you now. I'm an aspiring trainer, right? I want to be a personal trainer. I love training. I'm passionate about it, and I'm listening to you now, and I want to take on this course. How long will it take for me to start earning this kind of money?
It's also, it's about strategy also, because when you step in, you don't have that knowledge and experience to focus on, different type of clienteles. So my suggestion, when you're at the early stage, it's easier to work in groups because it's value per hour.
Correct.
You're not going to get the €80 in the first year per sessions. You may get a 25, but you can have the small PT groups. You can put 4 and actually make 100 per hour. So business has to be in your concept.
And you teach this.
Business. Yes.
You teach this.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you need to have this business strategy also. And I always say the first 5-6 clients are the difficult ones. Then it becomes a snowball effect as long as you deliver. Realistically, in today's world, which I believe is a growing dependence on personal trainers, and everybody right now really wants results more towards wellness right now. So your diversity of opportunities as a personal trainer increase. Is not lose weight or build six-pack anymore.
Correct.
It's sleep, it's stress, it's corporate environment. You have so much opportunity with clients that are in corporate environment that have so much stress level. They have so bad posture. So this is opportunity that we didn't have 20 years ago when I was a PT. So I think somebody with the right, ethics and the right plan and willing to give the hours, because you need to be on the floor to be visible. You need to connect all the time. I think within 1 year, he's willing to make that money.
Interesting. But like you said, it also requires a lot of dedication from their side.
I think it's a lot of education, and you need to keep adding things. You need to look into, because you're going to face clients that you're going to realize, I'm blocked. What am I going to do now? I've been training him for 3 months and suddenly I can see that I'm not able to deliver anymore. At that moment, you need to be able to have the knowledge how to solve. And sometimes, that's why, like you mentioned something that we don't give enough. But when I'm looking sometimes to the standards that we are offering right now, I think we're giving too much in a way too short period of time. I think sometimes the level of education we want from somebody at the entry level is way too high for his understanding. So we need to be more applied also. We need to share more of the experience. Not only, right now I think we need to be able to make more references to different things, and that should be educate the responsibility by going and read that and share more experience, share more practice with them, because there's so many tricks to get out of a blockage, to inspire the client again. That people that are athletes or they've been athletes before, they may know it because they felt it during their practice time. But our industry right now, it doesn't grow. I was keeping a lecture into the sports university here in Bucharest to the last year of graduates. And I realized that in our fitness sector, only 3% of people that are finishing sports university are getting into the fitness sector.
Correct.
Very low. So there are not too many athletes coming right now. Who are our personal trainers and professionals? Are actually our clients. They get so passionate about, and then they change their profession, or they add extra just out of passion.
Correct.
So the experience is not there. The feeling of being an athlete is not there when your coach was on your head. The level of motivation, you only have your experience, what motivated you. So in our courses, in our curricula, I think these are things that we need to start adding from early stages. Best practices has to happen more, because that's what they will know what to do. And that creates more results, and for them willingness to grow. Because if it's no results, you're not willing. You need to see the growth.
Correct.
That's how I look at things.
Gabriel, changing gears now. So as a business leader, right? As the Chief Operating Officer of World Class, and also the CEO of MoveOn, I'm sure you've had your times where it's been tough because you're wearing two hats and you've got different goals. How do you manage to balance these?
There are examples that are very tough, because at a certain moment, in one company you have a directions, and at a certain moment you need to compromise on different levels.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, in the other one, you don't want to make compromises.
Correct.
And it is what it is. Always the leader will have to take a decision at the end, then you need to stand behind it. I'm very pragmatic. So I go back to what I like the most. And at the end of the day, my responsibility, it has more shareholders in stake. A client is a shareholder. We need to deliver to them. Our team, our employee, they're part of this. They need to get their things. And then you have your the owners of the company, that also they need to get their revenue. So I'm always going to look at the mathematics behind and say, guys, okay, short term, and what's the side effect of, medium, long term, and if it's something that can be corrected later on. So I just go down to the Excel and paper. I don't see the other way. I rely a lot on the feelings, but I think we've also got to a point when you get to such a bigger company that the expectations has to be justified not only through a feeling. So it became more and more dependent on, business model. You need to show risk analysis. So these things I can see, for me, being part of World Class, when it moved from entrepreneurial to a private equity fund, to a family fund, you have different input from the ownership. And that made me, also go back to school, going back and say, okay, how do we make how do I learn, risk analyze? What's the, price sensitivity analyze? All these kind of things, based on the fact that sitting on that chair, it had to have the responsibility. And in the same time, working with a private equity fund was a lot of, depending on the getting finance through banks and funds, then you have a different way of putting things forward if you get it approved, if you want to get it approved. And I learned so much from that moment, how a bank will look at a business versus how an entrepreneur will look into business. And I'm using all that, positioning to see, okay, this has to be sacrificed at that moment. There is moments that we take decision in this moment, okay, it may not be good for World Class in this moment to have that partnership, but MoveOn can have it. Some of them, we take a decision, none of them should have it. Or sometimes just World Class goes to that and MoveOn don't. So we're trying to keep as much as possible as running them completely separate.
Independently.
But at a certain moment, you need to sit down and say, okay, I'm sorry, but this time I need to be, this is more important, more outcome, you sacrifice here, And then some models that worked here, we also did some rationale. Now we completely transformed in the new MoveOn last year into a new webpage, new design, new platform. And we had to take more commercial and financial direction when it comes to payment methods. that may not benefit today in MoveOn, even if it was, let's say I had to take this as a group decision, being more entrepreneurial, it may be the moment right now that you feel it's a bit restrictive in the market where all your competitors, you can pay in whatever installment you want. And here we only have bank payments that you need to go to correctly. But it has some advantages. And in the way it created a challenge to say, okay, if we don't have that, what do we have? So why do we have this payment? What can add that to the member? So
while you're very, very number oriented and, procedural oriented, you're also very passionate, person, because I got to know more about you from your team members. So Anna, who told me that I should interview you. So we were just having a discussion about fitness and passion. She said, no, you have to speak to Gabriel. He's so passionate about what he does. And coming from a team member, she's just new in the industry.
Yeah, she's very new.
And, when someone like that says that, my CEO is so passionate about fitness, it says, she won't understand the numbers, or she's not involved in the numbers on a daily basis. It's incorrect for me to say she won't understand, but she's not involved in day-to-day numbers. She just sees your passion with which you speak. So is that something that's got you to the level you are in your organization, your leadership? Is that one of the traits?
I think it's something that completely put me where I am right now, because I never looked at, even though in business, you have to start from Excel. You need to build a model.
Correct.
But my perception always is that, like in fitness, if I want to build bigger muscles, actually the muscle hypertrophy, it's an adaptation.
Correct.
It's an output. I'm just training strength as a motor quality. I'm not training muscle growth. And I think the same, product, the service, if you do it correct, financials will come.
Correct.
That's a result of you doing a good job.
Correct.
Because you can do it wrong and this will never come.
Correct.
So I keep this always, and that's the level I like to be also as a MoveOn, keeping it a more entrepreneurial, and in work class, the level where I love the position as a CEO because it's still on the floor. It's still sitting with the club manager, sitting with the sales manager, and you still give them, you're still connected to what they feel.
Right.
I think that's very important, and not being too financials and into the development. You stick with the day to day, and passion is there. You need to still give it to them, because it's people business. It's challenges. It's like every client walks into your door may come with a backpack of issues. Our perception and our positioning all the time is you need to make that client drop the backpack at the entrance. And at the end, if he still decides to take the backpack home with him, that's his choice. But 1 hour here, no issues. You need to be so engagement, so passionate about what you're offering that he cannot watch the clock to say, I need to get home. So that's the passion that drives, and that's the beauty of our industry.
Correct.
I think that's the beauty that we can offer. Seeing that kind of energy when you teach a cycling.
Absolutely.
Seeing that energy when somebody was able to push 100 kilos for the first time. Who gets that every day?
Unbelievable.
Who gets
when
that
you break your 1 rep max by even 2 kgs, you're just over the moon.
And you can give this to all populations.
Yeah.
Professional athletes and, the best athletes in the world, they are a handful. Yeah. So I think as a personal training and an industry, the impact that we can give versus the highest level coach in football, we can get much more rewarded than what he gets.
Yeah, it's a better high. I agree with you. I completely agree with you.
Okay, we may get that kind of payment from him, but on the other hand,
Final question for you, Gabriel. What are we going to see from MoveOn in the next 3 to 5 years? Where do you see it going?
What we want to look right now, and we're working hard, is going a bit more into the prosumers. So we've been focusing so much in professionals and more into really high-level education and continuous education. I think for the next 2-3 years, we are working to launch concepts for prosumers. Because as more as we give to the fitness consumers, to our members, knowledge and not knowledge. We don't want to educate them. We want to offer them knowledge based on their interest. So, working with what really are you interested in? There's so many people coming into a fitness center that have problems with sleep. That may never have to get a personal trainer or somebody behind, but give them the knowledge because that will make them more aware of what they're doing. That may make them more aware of how important is, exercise in your life. And if you can do it correctly, it's even better for everybody. So move on from the content and knowledge is pushing also towards prosumers. So that's something where we want to go with MoveOn.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
I think education company is also part of the fitness industry. So if we can educate and they get into the gym.
I think they are one of the most important. It's like saying, if you are into research, right? Universities are the most important aspect. Otherwise, you won't have research.
Correct.
So there are R&D companies, obviously, but they pick up the building blocks coming from the university, which is what you're doing at the moment.
Exactly. Thank you.
Super stuff. Thank you so much, Gabriel. Appreciate it.
Me too.